Hey YouTube. I don't know how to attach this to my previous video, but this is gonna be like I left a couple things out of my previous video, and I did want to say them, and that's ultimately what my parental advisory was for, because the stories that I'm about to share, they're very detailed, and they're gonna be very detailed, and I just want to kind of, you know, show what these animals are capable of, and some of the stuff they do if you don't already know. Okay, I'm going to start with these videos that I found. There's some videos, if you look through the web and you look deep enough. I'm not going to do it again. I'm not going to send any links, because unless you really do want to see, it's a little bit morbid, but I did. That's why I looked. Then I'm sure you'll find it if you look for it. But yeah, anyhow, I'm gonna let you find that stuff on your own. Yeah, anyway. One of the videos I seen, there was a young kid. He was probably, I'd say in between 13 and 14 years, or 12 to 14 years old. I don't think he was 14, but he was 12 or 13, one or the other. His feet were bound, hands were tied behind his back. He was sitting blindfolded on the ground. There was about 10 cartel guys standing around him. And then his father was sitting next to him, same thing. Feet bound, tied, hands tied behind the back, and blindfolded as well. They're all standing around them, and they're right next to a hole, so you can kind of figure right then and there what's going to happen. They're not walking away from that scene. The young guy, from what I gather, he was a cop. He was a Mexican police officer, and he got kidnapped, and just so happened the time that they kidnapped him, he had his son with him, so they took him too. And they filmed it. And it starts by them beating on him. They untie his feet and start taking his leg off at the knees with a machete. And you can hear it thud for thud, thump, thump, thump. And you start seeing the blood, and you can tell that there's no special effects there. I'm convinced that it's real. So they do that to both his legs, and then his arms, and then they cut his throat. And while he's making his noises and his screams or yells, grunts, gurgles, there was a lot of noises there. His son's sitting right next to him, listening to the whole thing. Just going to add, this is going to be a little tough for me to talk about, because I still see that shit in my head, and it's I probably won't never forget it. It's just a constant reminder of the dangers that are headed this way. Anyhow, once he's done, they roll him to the side and they start on this kid. And they start by doing the same stuff, you know. They're cussing at him, calling him all kinds of names, and just start going to hacking. And you can hear it, you can see it. They start beating him with a leg. They start carving his chest. They start carving right around his chest. They pull his skin down, and all you see is the muscle underneath. They start digging into that, right into his rib, and create a hole. This guy sticks his knife in this hole and just starts aimlessly shoving it around, slicing, cutting, chopping. So this kid's lungs and heart's all getting to, and you can see him. He was laying down when this guy started. He sits up. Anyway, kid sits up, and I think oxygen's out the window. I don't think he's getting any oxygen at that point. I'm thinking he sat up trying to fight for air. That's what it looked like. And then they moved up. They went to his head. They took it off. There was women. You know, a lot of these women that they're kidnapping, yeah, they are involved with the cartels. That is where the sensitivity comes in, because a lot of those people that are involved with them. No, you know what? I'm not going to say a lot, because I don't know if it's a lot. I know of some. So I'm just going to say some of those people, they're actually people. They're just doing what they're forced to do, because if they don't, then some of their family's going to get murdered, and they'd rather cook up some coke, whatever, for the cartels, and as long as their families are okay. Well, when they get caught by rival cartels, then more videos get put out of this next one I'm about to talk about. 4 women lined up. One of them was a very elderly woman, like gray hair. You could just tell that she was up there in her ages, you know. And I get that there's so much evil down there, and I really get that you know, there are bad women out there too, especially down there. You know, I've heard about women being directly involved with cartels, family daughters of you know, cartel kingpins, and they're just as bad. Anyhow, they do their video, and they're talking, and then they go to lopping heads off, cutting them. There was one short video I found of what it shows what they're doing to the youth down there. A little kid got his cell phone out, put it to the forward view, first person view, and you could see his hand with the pistol in the front. Looked just like a first person video game almost. And he goes up to this other little kid sitting on the curb, and you see the little kid look at the camera, and he puts his hand up, and he's like, hey, you know, kid's point a gun at him, and he knows it's a gun, shoots him right in the head. Kid falls. That video surfaces online. I mean, these people don't care. They pollute the youth. They poison the youth. They murder the youth. You know, train the youth to do the same. They just don't care. Anyhow, this is the second part to that video. I just wanted to add it. I was kind of hoping that I'd be able to say more. I'm going to try here. I'm going to try for a few minutes, but if I can, I'm going to go ahead and end the video. It's tough. It really is, and this shit really is bothering me. You know, it's been bothering me. But these are the real problems. These are the problems that we need to fix. You know, why are we worried about a lot of the shit that we're worried about now? It's fucking peanuts compared to the stuff that we need to. The dangers, the very dangers that are staring us in the face every fucking day. You know, there's so many people out there that are scared of guns and want to grab guns from law-abiding citizens. You know, and me looking into what I have and taking the time to investigate what I have, I've come to the conclusion that in order for me to do my job as a man and a father to protect my family, in today's society and today's world, all over, I believe you need a firearm. And I am one of those law-abiding citizens. You know, ever since I was able to pull a trigger, I've trained with it, and I'm very comfortable in my ability and judgment. You know, as far as that goes, I've thought about this day after night before I even got my permit. You know, what happened? What do I do in this situation? You know, I've watched the YouTube videos, you know, and then I took the class, you know, and I did have a great instructor, Paul, Top Gun. If you know the area, I'm not going to try and put a bunch of information out there about myself right at the moment. But if you know the area, guy's name's Paul. He's the owner of Top Gun. Go see him. His classes are very, very affordable, and he's a great instructor. He explains everything. Anyhow, I thought about all this stuff, you know, what to do in these events, and I'm pretty confident in what I've come up with as far as what I would do. That being said, I know there's not going to be chances of there being an oops when it comes to a law-abiding citizen are very, very small compared to you know, somebody who isn't supposed to have a firearm, somebody who doesn't need to have a firearm. Who's going to protect us from them? You know, I got a lot of faith in our law enforcement. There's a ton of agencies out there that are just outstanding. They do a great job, but unfortunately, there's so many aspects and things. I don't know the word for it. There's, you know, you got officers out there that, you know, get a little power hungry. Officers get a big head. I got a badge and I got a gun. I got a license to kill. You know, you got officers that get greedy, you know, and there's a lot of dirty shit that goes down there. And I'm not saying that there's not, but there's not so much of that anymore. It's not like it used to be. You know, the majority of law enforcement does, in fact, you know, they got families too. You know, they sign up for the job because they want to help. You know, and the number of men and women that do that outnumbers by a lot the number that go in there with, you know, ill intentions. But all those factors that give them a bad name also slow them down. Because the ones that they find that are doing wrong, they lose their jobs. Now they're down an officer. Granted, I believe that's a benefit in some ways, but in other ways it's a disadvantage because that's one less man out in the field. Man or woman. But I can't place the lives of myself and my family, and I can't place that in their hands when I know that they've fallen short of satisfactory. And a lot of it they can't help. They want to get there, they want to help, they want to get the bad guy, but sometimes they just can't get there in time. You know? Law-abiding citizens are able to make split-second decisions. You know, so are police officers, but they have to be in a situation in order to make that decision. They have to get to that situation. More law-abiding citizens that you have that are armed, you know, kind of broadens that a little bit, makes things a lot safer, I think. But yeah, you know, this, as nasty as they are, the things I've seen, you know, it's right up there with all them videos of the Taliban and the shit they do to the people that they capture. Heads being cut off, throats being slit. I mean, just the same stuff, you know. So in my eyes, that's if they're labeled terrorists, you know, well, these cartels should be too. Doing exactly what the terrorists are doing, just a little closer to home. I got a couple more videos that I'll talk about that I've seen. There was one heavy set guy. He had like a pair of shorts on or something. And actually, this is going to be the last one that I talk about. I just don't want to talk about it anymore. I think this one portrays the most what kind of animals these people are. And that's the only reason why I'm going to say this last one. But he's in a hole, so you can already guess he ain't walking away from that. And they start chopping him up. Well, he's alive, ain't got no arms. His arms are cut off at the elbows, legs are cut off at the knees. He's got stubs. And while he's still alive, legless and armless, they start stabbing him in his gut. He's still alive. He's barely moving. His breathing is off. You can tell he's not breathing normally, so they hit some vital stuff. And they start stabbing him in the face, but they're only doing little short jabs, just breaking the surface just enough to stick about a ½ inch of that blade into the skull. And they start going to his eyes, and the whole time this guy's alive. Now, I don't know what this guy did to them. I wasn't able to find that information out. But if you're that pissed off, just put a bullet in his fucking head. Your main goal is to end this person's life. Why go that brutal with it? To send a video, to send a message? The people that they're trying to send a message to do the same shit, so it's not sending a message. It's not sending shit to them. All it's doing is pissing them off. It's just like a punch to the gut. You know, it's not really sending a message. You know, but the fact that they go through that brutality, that senseless brutality, and that amount of it for something that I'm sure they know isn't going to send much of a message. It just goes to show you that they really don't care. They really don't. But that's the mess that's headed this way. That's the mess that's headed our way. So any viewers that I have out there, I encourage you, please, go get your permit if you're able to. You know, we all make mistakes. If you got felonies and you can't own a firearm, you know, check into your parole officer or you know, check the laws in your area. You know, get a knife. You know, get something. There's batons out there that you can carry. There's all kinds of stuff. I know there's certain revolvers that you can carry in certain states. It all depends on where you're at. But check into it. You know, and if you're a violent felon, then this does not apply to you. Because I don't encourage that. If you've done some violent, dumb shit in your past, well, I hope you lead the right path now. But you don't need a gun. And it ain't you, it's just your anger issue, that's all. You get too angry. That's why you caught those charges. And if you get that angry, then no, you don't need a gun. Because you can't make rational decisions when you're angry. When you're using a firearm for something other than target practice, you got to have the ability to make good decisions. So anyhow, I encourage it. By all means, go get it. Arm yourself. Train a little bit. You know, if you don't have the luxury of being able to go out in your backyard and shoot, you know, try and find a range. Find a buddy that's got property that don't mind you shooting. Train on that thing as often as you can. You know, I know a lot of my buddies, they're all ammo hoarders. I got a buddy, he's got a lot of ammo. I went to a gun show, and then promptly after that went to visit him and looked in his closet, and I was like, wow, I'm at another gun show. But that whole hoarding ammo thing, if you want to do it, do it. It's always good to have that stuff on deck. But if you have the ability to get bulk ammunition, get you the cheap target loads and practice. Train on your draws. You know, train on your tactics. When to be unsnapped, when to snap, when to carry certain ways. Train on all that. Train on every aspect, every way you can train. Train on it. Get better. It's going to save your life one day. Either that or somebody else who has done all that's going to save yours. But anyhow, these fuckers are animals. And they got no place here. They got no business here. There's a lot of people coming from down there that do need our help. And the ones that want to help them, I'm right there with them. But you know, and I'm not even so sure that they're, you know, I'm seeing a lot of recent stuff pop up now of actual communities getting together and arming themselves and taking on these cartels. There's a group in particular that I just read about, and they actually got the cartels out of their neighborhood, and because they station sentries up around the perimeter of the neighborhood, and they're able to watch, they know what vehicles should be there, what ones shouldn't, and they've pretty much, they're able to maintain their anti-cartel zone, we'll call it. Maintain their decriminalized zone, whatever you want to call it. They're able to do it. And a lot of them, I think, are picking up right there with them and doing the same thing. And in turn, which is making a lot of them able to stay. That's the other thing that this actually was going to go into another video that I was planning on making, but I'll talk a little bit about it now. But it's supposed to cut down on these illegals wanting to get in here so bad, because it's because now the ones that are looking for the help, they're slowly starting to be able to help themselves. They're finding means to firearms, even though the government won't allow it. They still do it. And you know, it's working out. But at the same time, if that is the case, then why are there still so many coming over? Which leads me to wonder, well, if all these good ones are starting to want to stay, but we're still having a big number of them coming in, does that mean that all of the ones coming in, that they're more bad than good now? Because they've always been trying to get over here. You know, the ones that aren't about that life, they want to stay in their own homeland. They want to stay in their own place. So why are we still having so many? You know, these women are even coming over here with drugs on their backs. A lot of them are forced to do it. You know, the ones that are forced to do it, they cooperate and help us stop it from happening. Well, I'm sure we can help them out a lot. You know, but they got to be willing to do that. If they're not willing to do that, then, well, we can't really help them, because they're just going to go back and do the same shit. One moment. There's this guy doing a walk around on a certain section of the border, and it was nothing but a couple of old bent up fence posts with some kind of rope tied from one to the other. I mean, I don't know what they're trying to stop from getting through that, but it ain't gonna stop illegals. We gotta fix that. The few minutes that it took me to get my last video out and this one, I've seen 2 notifications from my news app already telling me about these bodies being found on the border. 2 of them were police officers, and I don't know about the other ones. I think they're soldiers in some way. I don't know. Oh, and that one. It's 27 minutes on this video so far, so I'm gonna go ahead and tell everybody goodbye for now. Thanks again for watching. But before I go, I just want to say one more thing. Aside from all of that, which I was just talking about, anybody who follows Dog the Bounty Hunter and their bounty hunting and all the stuff that they do, TV shows and whatnot, I don't know how true it is, but I just heard that Beth Chapman did pass. So if that is true, my heart definitely goes out to their family, and just say a prayer for them. And they'll get through it. But yeah, I'm just going to ask everybody, if you can, just say a prayer for them and help them get through it. And I'm going to pray too. Anyway, everybody stay safe and stay vigilant. Head on a swivel, round in a chamber always. God bless. Take care, guys.